What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at your live once again through the power of the internet. And yes, I finally saw Guardians of the Galaxy. I know a lot of LA YouTubers got to go see Guardians of the Galaxy last week and post the reviews and so on and so forth. I never watched any of the reviews because I wanted to watch the movie for myself and I wanted to create a movie review for you. I actually saw it on Thursday night, but decided to post my review today, Saturday morning, just because I've been so exhausted this last week. If you've never seen one of my movie reviews, I'm going to do it the same way that I always do. I'm going to do the first half spoiler-free, and we'll talk about spoiler-free things I thought about the movie overall, recommending it, whether you should see it. And then I'm going to get into some of the spoilers and stuff that I want to talk about specifically, and we will move the baby Groot to this side of the screen. And you know, once it's moved over here, in case you jump around the video, there will be spoilers. But until then, spoiler-free. So, quick question. Should you watch this movie? Probably. If you like the first Guardians of the Galaxy, I personally think it is not as good as the first Guardians of the Galaxy, but it does take the kind of feel that the first movie had, and I really don't think the music was good. I think that's one of the reasons the feel wasn't there. But that mix of sci-fi, comedy, superhero, emotion, the whole nine yards. And this movie really did make me feel the gambit of emotions, all the way from sad at some points to very happy at other points. There's stories of redemption. There are stories of tragedy. There are stories of love and stories. It's pretty damn good. So yeah, you probably should see this movie at some point. Do you need to rush out and see it in the theater? Probably not. There's not a lot that can be spoiled. That means you have to see it right now before somebody spoils it for you. So you can probably wait and see this one home if you really need to, or wait till the theaters thin out a little bit. But I'm really glad I saw it opening weekend because there is one kind of spoiler there that could have gotten delivered that would have really probably changed the way I felt about the movie. The majority of the spoilers that would have come from it are not that bad. Like I said, music, right off the bat, I didn't like the soundtrack as well. I didn't find a lot of the songs as easily recognizable. They were still very good songs, just not that easily recognizable to me. I thought that the acting, of course, was amazing. As usual, I love Batista specifically in the character that he plays there. Some of the writing here, I think, was a little... I don't know. What they were doing with some of the characters was weird. So kind of left me scratching my head a little bit. I feel like there were a couple of scenes that just didn't feel right and didn't look right. But overall, I think I was pretty happy with it. I will say, and again, spoiler free here, there's, stuff that you see coming. They kind of, I don't know, they kind of foreshadow stuff a little too much, so that you're picking up on it way too early. I would rather they had done surprises and stuff like that. But I mean, like from the very opening scene to the very end scene and all of the little end credit stuffs, I thought they're all well filmed. I think they were funny. I think they looked great. The CGI was great. The acting was great. I have no real complaints about this movie. Probably an 8 out of 10 for me, and I think you should probably see it at some point. The action is good enough, and the CGI is good enough to where it warrants seeing it at the theater or on a really big television. You have that at home. So that said, I loved the movie. I loved it. Again, it probably could not possibly be as good to me as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 was, but my wife thought this one was just as good. And she loves both of those movies. And this is a woman who historically has hated sci-fi, has hated, was only, she's into superheroes like Batman and stuff when she was younger, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or whatever. But I always felt that she was tepid with the fantasy genre and the sci-fi genre. This is the kind of thing that really brings her in. So bring the wife, bring the girlfriend. They're going to probably enjoy this one quite a bit. All right, let's get into the spoilers. Let's get into the plot details. Let's get into the stuff. So they can speak with a little more specific. So it's spoiler time. Spoiler time. I am Groot. It's spoiler time. Brr, I am Groot. It's spoiler time. It's spoiler time. All right. Well, let's talk about Kurt Russell for a little bit here. Love seeing him in anything. His character as Ego in this movie is very, very good. I hate how obvious it is, even from the very beginning, that they shouldn't trust him and that they don't trust him. I hate how frustrating it is. And I've never read the comics. I don't know how this fits into the comic universe and never read Guardians of the Galaxy. I know literally nothing about it. Here's what I can say is I like the idea of the character and I love the idea of Star-Lord having, immortality and Star-Lord having powers and Star-Lord being able to do all that crazy stuff. If he now held an Infinity Gem, it would kill him, I guess, based on what happens in the movie. And again, I think Ego has to clearly be insane at this point in order to want to do what he is doing, but that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. What he wants to do just doesn't make sense to me. And I left my theater thinking, why would he want to do that? Like, that doesn't matter. Like, if he was creating life, that's one thing, or creating new things or replacing the old and putting in new, like, that makes sense. But just replacing the universe with himself, I guess, I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, he had a son. He wanted to have at least one person of the world. I guess more races of him would make sense. I don't know. Maybe that even was what he was doing. They just didn't communicate it very well. So when it came to the overarching plot, I was a little frustrated and a little irritated. But that's not why I go to see Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not why I enjoyed the first movie. The overarching plot, again, I don't even really fully remember the overarching plot of the first movie. I really don't. What I remember is the interaction between the characters, the interactions, between Star-Lord and Gamora and Batista's lines, which are always beautiful and amazing, and the comedic feel of it and the action of it. And they just grabbed that right at the beginning with the dancing Groot at the beginning of the movie, and with the battle happening behind him, and the CGI looks so good, the battle looks so good, and I knew I was going to be in for exactly the treat that I wanted. What I did not expect with this movie is, again, every emotion that you could feel, I felt during this movie. I laughed, I cried a little bit, I genuinely did tear up at one point towards the end of the film. I absolutely laughed my ass off. And I'll see some of the reviews I have seen, people are like, well, when you spend more time with these characters, you realize exactly how grating they are. Well, you know me. If you know me at all, you know I'm dysfunctional, and I love dysfunctional people. I love dysfunctional families. I love families that are made up of broken people trying to get along, and that's exactly what this is. And even the subplots with Gamora's sister, I thought that was fantastic. I thought it was very, very well done. Taserface, like the whole thing there. And of course, we got to talk about, I can't remember the character's name from the movie. The blue guy with the fin, Merle from The Walking Dead, one of my favorite Walking Dead characters, plays a badass here, Talon something, I can't never remember his damn name. The scene where he recovers his fin, even though I think the baby Groot thing in recovering the fin could have been funnier, he could have gotten weirder, I think that could have used a rewrite or two, but I love the idea of it. It just felt like it could have been funnier stuff that he went and found, or whatever. Anyway, when he finally gets his fin, and he can use his weapon, and he literally murders his entire crew. Amazing. Just incredible. Like, that scene will stick with me forever. And, of course, the music playing with it, and the slow motion, and Groot murdering, throwing that one guy and murdering him. I mean, he did murder him, threw off the thing. I did not expect that kind of violence from this movie, especially earlier when Rocket was getting attacked, and Rocket was using non-lethal weapons, because I guess he's a hero, so he's not allowed to do that. But then later on, Groot murders people. I mean, they murder plenty of people. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy being anti-heroes. I like them being murderers. I like them being outlaws. I like them being bad people. I like that, and so I want more of that in the movie. I'm so glad we got that in the movie. I'm so glad we got to see the savagery, the viciousness. I love watching Rocket murder people, which he later did. He used non-lethal things in the beginning, used lethal things after, they pissed him off. I love that. That's a good justification. That's a good reason for me. So everything about this movie I think I really liked, especially the end scene and the sadness that comes with it, with the death of the anti-hero, the most anti-hero of them all, and finding out why he did what he did. Just beautiful. Just really, that stuff was really good writing. It's very difficult, I think, to put comedy into something like this. And they get it right 9 out of 10 times. I think most of the jokes land every time. I feel like most of the scenes land. I feel like the acting was fantastic. Again, Batista just turns out to surprise me every time he opens his mouth. I never know what to expect him to say, and it's always funny when he says anything. And even the supporting cast here, Mantis was fantastic. Just what an incredible character she turned out to be. Just everybody. And of course, even like Taserface. Was just great. So I hope you guys enjoyed this movie as much as I did. I'd be curious to know in the comment section below what scenes you thought were a little off that maybe could use a rewrite, because I know I'm going to see this a second time, and I may see it in the second time in the theater, and I want to keep your critiques in the mind. I'd like to know what your favorite scenes were too. What did I get wrong? What did I get right? What did I miss? I always like to know. But the short of the answer is, especially, if you've seen the movie, hopefully you waited to do that with the spoiler, because I'd hate to spoil some of these scenes for you. But if you haven't seen the movie and you sat through these spoilers, Go see it. I really think you owe yourself the right to see this. Just a beautiful movie. You like the first movie, I don't think you can go wrong with the second. Some critics dislike this one. It has a lower ratio than the first Guardians. I think it deserved a much higher ratio than the critics gave it. They generally just don't like sequels. But this was not your average run-of-the-mill sequel, and that's what I liked the most about it. It just wasn't a rehashing. It wasn't a recreation. It wasn't just doing it a second time. Does this movie have a place in the overarching storyline? Yeah, because there are some tie-ins towards the end of it. It's not as important as holding an infinity gem. It's not as important as the things that happened in the first movie, but it definitely has its place here. It's probably off to the side a little bit. Probably nothing necessary here that advances the movie world's plot. But I enjoyed every second of it. I really did. I'm glad this movie exists, and I think they did a great job with it. So can't wait. I think this is one I'll get on Blu-ray, or probably actually digital on Xbox. This is where I'm buying all my Marvel movies right now. Guys, as always, thanks for watching. I love you very much. And I'll speak with you again soon. Go see it. Take a friend.